Hello students, this is a walkthrough of the resource that I really prefer for um, finding out how to do citation stuff, the MLA Works Cited in-text citation and formatting guide that you'll find on the online writing lab at Purdue University. Let me go ahead and switch to a screen share. And we are going to go to the OWL Purdue. And you can access this by just, Googling OWL Purdue MLA, and it'll take you here. Now, how to use this? How is it going to be helpful? Well, let's start with the works cited page. One thing that this is useful for is it can give you the basics of how to put together a works cited page from, where the author should be listed, where the, publisher, page number, city, all that sort of stuff. Also, we'll see some examples. In addition, we have in-text citation basics. How do you format quotations? For example, if you have a quotation that's more than 4 lines of prose, you would not use quotation marks, as you see here. The citation goes at the end of the quotation. There's no period after it, unlike an in-sentence citation, as we see right here, it does have a period at the end of it. So this is a way for you to double check your work and make sure you're doing stuff correctly. Also, the basics of the works cited page are going to be here. Here are the basic rules, and it's written in pretty plain language. It's not in real technical language, and it's fairly easy to understand how to capitalize and how to punctuate, and the basics of putting together just a book. More than one work by an author, etc. Now, one thing that I do want to point out is if you're using books, which you are, for classes like English 101 and literature courses and English 102, you'll be asked to cite, generally speaking, from your textbook. Well, how do we cite a work from our textbook? In the case of English 102 and the literature courses, when you're citing the primary source, which is the work you're going to be examining, you would think, oh, it's a book with one author. Well, this becomes incorrect a lot of times because students will put the editors as opposed to the author. What it really is it's a work in an anthology. And whether you use this or other online resource like Citation Machine or something like that, the onus is on you to know what type of source that you're looking at, because otherwise you're not going to be able to cite it correctly. But any of the textbooks are going to be anthologies. Anthology or collection. Well, this is the whole thing. That's not what we're looking for. Here we go. A work in an anthology, reference, or collection. Now, this is the basics of what it should look like. So, for example, I'm just turning to a random page in the English 102 textbook. If you were to cite a work, the work called Brownies by Z.Z. Packer, it's on page 155 of which edition? The 6th edition of the English 102 textbook. It would be Packer, Z.Z. Brownies, title of the work. This goes for poems as well, and plays. Title of the collection, Literature and Introduction to Reading and Writing. Edited by, we have 2 editors. For the longer anthologies, like we see in world literature, you would use the supervising editor. So just 1 editor there. Publisher. In the case of the 102 book that I'm looking at right now, I'm just looking at the first couple pages of the book where the copyright information is. Looking for what? The publisher. Publisher would be Pearson. The years, 2015. And then the page range of entry, 155 to, let's see, 167 in the English 102 textbook. They have a couple of samples here, but please, please, please make sure you're citing a textbook. In any of my classes, it's going to be a work from an anthology, and you follow this pattern. Let's move on to a couple other things that this website has. Something I really like about it, it has MLA formatting guidelines with comments. MLA sample paper. Well, yeah, look at that. I'm going to go ahead and expand it so we can see what this looks like. It's a PDF file, and look, it has explanations about why you need to do everything that you need to do. The first page of the paper, your name, my name, and class and the date. Title is centered. This is the title right here. Notice there's no extra space. Indent the first paragraph. And page number are in the upper right of every page. And as you go through, you see not only formatting guides, but also pointing out things that it's doing well, like transition sentences, good use of evidence, thesis statement, all those sorts of things. And when we get to the back of the paper, if you're a little confused, and I kind of need to visualize stuff like this, that's the type of learner that I am. But when we get to the end of the paper, we can actually see what the works cited page is supposed to look like using MLA format, so we can kind of put into practice. Title of the page needs to be works cited. Notice it's not underlined, it's not in bold, nothing like that. It's centered. The citations are organized alphabetically. The first line is left justified. The rest of the lines in each citation are indented. A good way to do this is to do your works cited page in single space and space it manually. That will allow you to avoid the auto formatting that a lot of word processors are going to do. But this is quite a useful resource, and I'll actually copy this now and put a link to it in the video comments. One other thing I want to remind you of, regardless of what class you are hearing this in, is that all of my classes have a let me stop on the screen share. All my classes have an approved research material policy. It's in your syllabus. Know it and follow it. Anything, any source that's not a .edu or .gov or comes from one of the libraries, school libraries databases is required to get pre-approval by me before you can use it. That means any .com, .net, .org, any of those, they need prior approval or you cannot use them in your paper. A lot of times they're going to be fine. However, most of the time I need to review them. All right, so that's about it as far as showing you where you can locate some stuff on the OWL Purdue. I hope this was helpful. As always, let me know if you have any questions.